Here's a guy addressing the City Council of Fort Myers.
I felt compelled to come up and let my voice be heard and to say my 2 cents. And whether or not you like what I say or not, I'm going to say it anyway. I remember 4 years ago there were 2 white women who worked for the city of Fort Myers in the board office. Mr. Banks sexually harassed one of them.
And here's Fort Myers Mayor Randall Henderson objecting to what he had to say.
It's not true, and
Excuse me.
Nothing was ever happened about that. So it's not true.
I know you may not like what I have to say, but I get 4 minutes to speak, and you can talk for 4 hours and rebut me.
Just don't lie. Yeah, don't.
But
lie.
I'm going to say what I want to say. All right? Because I'm a man, and you're going to show me the respect that the citizen deserves.
Now this story, it's about whether it's appropriate or not for you to speak your mind at City Council. Now to make sense of all of this, we're going to have to go back at least 7 years and talk about a topic that was never made public. Now that guy who was trying to get his point across, that's political activist Anthony Thomas Jr. Now he was upset that the city was honoring Councilman Forrest Banks, who in 2007 was fighting sexual harassment allegations. Now fast forward to November 6, 2017. After devoting 8 years to City Council, Forrest Banks figured, hey, it's time to retire. And City Council gave Forrest Banks a heartfelt farewell. And to top it all off, Mayor Henderson officially declared that day Forrest Banks Day. Now, Anthony Thomas didn't think the councilman deserved such an honor. And when it was time for the public to address City Council, Anthony Thomas made sure his voice was heard.
As I was saying, Mr. Banks had an episode at the City Hall where he sexually harassed one of the women.
As you can imagine, that caught everyone completely off guard, including the mayor and the rest of the council members. And of course, they objected.
Nothing that he said is truthful. Nobody agrees with this man. And it's indignant. It's unacceptable.
Forrest Banks, of course, he was a little embarrassed about the accusations, but he didn't try to silence Anthony like the mayor and acting city attorney did.
Forrest, I'm sorry for Mr. Thomas's behavior, and he's a disgrace to this city. I think one thing, Terry, I want to look into is when this gentleman, or excuse of a gentleman, comes to this podium, I'm going to start turning off the TV. There's nothing that says we have to record his vile message.
I'd have to research into that.
We'll look into it.
The only requirement is that meetings noticed, that we allow public comment if needed, and that minutes are taken.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just stop for just 1 second. There's just way too much to get into the sexual allegations, and that's a story that we're going to follow up on later. Now, 2 weeks after Anthony made those allegations, which were denied by Mayor Henderson and Forrest Banks, a resolution was created restricting the way comments were made addressing City Council.
What I've seen over the past year or so is a couple of things that we could tighten up to make the council meetings be more about business and less distraction. With the changes that I did make, start with all the public comment periods are going to be 3 minutes for your public comment for non-public hearing items, your public hearing items, and then your non-agenda public comment are going to be 3 minutes across the board. We have the discretion, and in this resolution, it'll be discretion of the chair and or the city attorney to decide whether, if you're having disruptive behavior and you're making personal attacks, that they can give a warning to ask that you don't make personal attacks and that you discuss the item that you came forward with. If they continue, then we can ask them to stop their comments and sit down. And then third, if they refuse to stop, then what we are allowed to do is the police chief or his designee is allowed to then ask the individual to return to their seat, ask them, if they don't return to the seat, ask them to leave the chamber, and if they won't leave the chamber, they have a right to arrest the individual.
Councilman Banks suffered a particularly cruel, ugly experience. And I personally feel responsible for that. And I'm going to first apologize to this council for not being more assertive. I have tried to be, as a chair, very liberal in the sense that we want citizens to feel respected at that podium to say and to do what they wish, and that they feel important, and I respect that. However, I have been disappointed in myself when it has come to a point of personal attacks that I have not been more assertive.
Now, Anthony Thomas, he has been a political activist in this community since he was 15 years old, and he attends those council meetings pretty regularly. So when he found out about the resolution and figured out that, hey, his voice might not be heard, he was not happy.
It's a real restriction on your constitutional rights. And I've sent it to the ACLU, and I'm waiting to hear back from Howard Simon. But I'm prepared to continue to speak as I speak, and if they want to criminalize the First Amendment, I'm prepared to go to jail.
This has all been vetted through different situations, as you can imagine, through other counties and councils with cases that have occurred, and it gives us our permission to do this.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
the motion was amended, so you need another second.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
The second
Second
agrees.
agrees.
And amendment.
Good catch. Thank you.
So here's the resolution. It basically says citizens have only 3 minutes instead of 4 to address council during non-public hearing comment periods. You also have to fill out a card stating exactly what your topic is going to be. And you have to stay on topic unless Mayor Henderson and City Attorney will shut you down. They'll also stop you dead in your tracks if you try to say anything disparaging. Actually, here's the exact wording from Resolution 2017-37. Statements by the speaker that slander, defame, disparage, or smear individuals through ad hominem attacks are not germane to public business and are inappropriate to the decorum of city council meetings involving public business of the city. Personal attacks are prohibited. Okay, so there's at least 2 points of views here. The first, all right, yeah, it makes sense. Don't disrupt city council with just some drama and rubbish. Or viewpoint number 2, I don't like city council passing rules that protect themselves or stops the public from knowing about sexual misconduct. Now you might be thinking both points are valid and there could be something brewing in City Hall. Trust us, we are definitely looking into it. But for this story, we just want to let you know that if you have something to say to the people in charge at City Hall, you only have 3 minutes. You have to stay on topic, and it has to be a topic that they want to talk about.